Hello guys, welcome to my channel. Today I would like to talk about Dialyn and Banyue early value discussion. Both of these characters are already available in the beta and you can find plenty of footage online. In this video, I want to focus more on the value side of things, whether these two characters are worth saving your pools for or if they're an easy skip. Let's start first with a quick overview of both characters. We'll begin first with Dialyn. She's a physical S-rank stun agent, very strong, does work in all kinds of teams due to how she functions. Effectively, her gimmick is that you will be able to convert chain attack into an ultimate. So you'll basically get an extra free ultimate ability within your team, which will massively increase the DPS of your entire team. However, do know there is a little trade-off to this. You will not gain decibels that you would otherwise gain by performing the chain attack, but nevertheless, just having an extra free ultimate ability is very powerful. It's definitely gonna help a lot because besides this functionality that she has, she does have other extra things on top, such as giving a nice stun multiplier damage increase on enemies. Do know that this number does vary back and forth, so don't really want to mention a number. Expect it to be probably around 30-35%, just as a heads up. Plus you also have a 3-second stun duration extension. Effectively, you pause the stun for 3 seconds extra longer. This will also improve your DPS overall. And on top of all of this, she also has a nice percent damage bonus buff for your entire team. Effectively, your teammates get a buff called Inspire, and whenever they have this buff, they receive a nice damage boost. Originally, this was a single target character boost, but now it is effectively for the entire squad. It could get changed once again, but nevertheless, the value is still there regarding this character. Also, what's interesting about Dialyn, that she has really good personal damage because she does want to be played quite a lot on field with her attacks. She has very hard hitting X special attacks that get amplified by her own kit with additional boosts, so it's pretty strong stuff. Also, you are incentivized to build her on critical rate because it's gonna convert into impact stat. The more you have, the better it is. Basically, 100% critical rate would be 100 impact boost. It's very potent stuff. She's effectively a stunner with a lot of buffing capabilities and pretty good personal damage as well. She does take significant amount of field time, but she makes up for her damage, the extra free ultimate, the buffs and all that stuff. Now let's also have a quick overview of Banyue. He's a Fire Rapture DPS. Very likely he will pretty much replace Manato in that role. He might be able also to succeed over Evelyn as well as being the best fire DPS in the game. He is somewhat technical character. It's not necessarily for everybody. There are certain things that you have to perform with him which might not be as comfortable for everybody to do, but if you're willing to do it, you would be maximizing his DPS. But even if you don't, let's say, play this character properly, it should still function relatively fine as long as you play in the intended content where it's, let's say, Rapture Shield, you know? Well, basically, he works around a rage state mechanic. He has 2 meters, rage and adrenaline meter. He will enter the rage state whenever he consumes enough HP or by generating rage. He has multiple ways how to generate rage, but basically you want to get in his rage state as much as possible to maximize his damage because his X special attacks effectively become free within rage state. They don't consume adrenaline. You do also have an automatic X special combo if you hold his special button as well, so he has, you know, some ease of use capability as well within the kit. But from my understanding, if you want to get more out of him, you'll have to be much more technical with this character. He also does buff his own stats within rage state, such as fire damage bonus, increased shear, and also critical damage boost. So overall, even if you don't memorize all of his combos, you'll still get something out of him. But if you want to get more out of him, you'll definitely have to learn these combos. But these are pretty much the overall quick descriptions of these two characters. Now we'll also go more in detail whether they're valuable to pull for or not. But before that, I would like to let you know that a lot of you guys who watch me are not subscribed. If you like the support support this small channel, subscribe, it's completely free of charge, smile, and now let's continue with the video. So we'll talk about Dialyn value. Her value is extremely high because she does work in all sorts of teams. You can effectively pair her up within Rapture teams, within attack teams, so all your Yishuans, Banyues, even Idari teams, Evelyn teams with Astra, heck, even Manato. Like, you can play Dialyn in all kinds of teams. Very splashable character. At the moment, from my understanding, and with the current changes and everything, she should be slightly worse than lighter for Astra, Yao, and Evelyn team, but that wasn't the case at the beginning, so things change, right? But overall, even after all of these changes, her value is relatively high. I wouldn't say it's exactly must pull, like you have to get this character, but she does have a lot of options to play her with, and also her W engine options are relatively free to play friendly. You can use a good old Steam Oven or an S rank standard W engine like Hellfire Gears. That's also gonna work great for her because that W engine also does provide energy regen, and Dialyn does use her X special move quite a lot back to back in a row, and that energy is gonna be very handy and nice. Regarding her own signature W engine, it is quite potent. It does solve her, let's say, potential energy issues because she does consume a lot of energy. It does regenerate a significant amount of energy, and also on top of that, it does provide a nice critical damage boost for your entire squad, which you can easily pair up with the set bonus, King of the Summit, so you can provide like a lot of critical damage buff for your entire team. Overall, the signature is nice, but you don't have to feel pressure to get her. Just getting Dialyn on her own is going to be perfectly fine as long as you have those Rapture or attack teams to play with. It's all good. As for her Mindscapes, her M1 is quite strong. It does provide a 15% all attribute res ignore for your characters who are buffed by the Inspire buff, which also provides a 50% damage boost. That's part of the core kit, but minus 15% all type res down. That's part of M1. M1 also has extra goodies within it, but generally M1 is quite strong. But even without M1, she's completely functional, and M0 without signature out of the box. I would say this character is quite a good pickup if you do have those Rapture attack teams that you can play with. However, do note the Void Hunter Yixing Wang is coming very soon, so you might want to save for that as well. But there's also a chance that maybe Dialyn does work with Yixing Wang, and if she does work with her, then you probably will really want to pick Dialyn to improve that team. Anyways, now let's go over Banyue as well. Banyue value is more different compared to Dialyn. He is an excellent DPS character, but the question is what kind of damage dealers you already have on your account, and specifically supports, because if you don't have Lucia, the value of Banyue is much lower. Like, it's still gonna be good, but Lucia does put him to the next level to make him much better. Lucia is the dedicated Rapture support after all, and if you do already happen to have Lucia and then you get Banu, you're gonna have a relatively strong team. You can of course also play there with Ju Fufu if you don't have Dialyn available or you can't get Dialyn. That's also an option, but generally for Banyue, to get most out of him, you do want to have those good supports and ideally Stunner as well, because other than that, he is just a damage dealer. He has the damage, but at the same time, damage dealers in this type of game can age out relatively quickly, and there's also a potential risk that, let's say, Yixing Wang ends up being a fire element character, and if she would be that, then all the DPSs under fire category would be at risk of potentially getting screwed in the future whenever the devs try to make Yixing Wang worse in the end game by targeting her. It can also target the other fire agents inadvertently if she's a fire agent. If she's physical, it's not gonna be a big problem for Banyue at least, but that's something you should keep in mind. Generally, he's alright, he's a fine pickup. If you have those supports and stunners, you're gonna get much more out of him. As for his signature is quite potent potent, and I don't think he has really that good necessarily free-to-play options for his signature. I guess you could use something like Steel Cushion, which is an attack W engine, just to get that advanced stat of critical rate, which you would still get. But overall, his options, free-to-play options, are not that ideal. His signature is relatively good. It does increase critical rate as a passive 20%, and advanced stat is percent HP increase, which is quite valuable for him as a Rapture unit. Also, his X special attacks and assist follow-ups, their fire, sheer damage specifically, will be increased, and it does stack 2 times. So this W engine is quite useful for him, and if you do want to strengthen him, you could consider going for this W engine, but I highly recommend you prioritize getting Lucia first, and then a stunner that would work well with him, such as Dialyn, or you already happen to have Jufufu, just use Jufufu. I wouldn't necessarily recommend pulling Jufufu Riran at this moment, but if you have it already, you could easily use it with Banyue. As for his Mindscapes, his M1, honestly, I don't think it's that valuable. I would prioritize his signature first over the M1. However, I believe M2 does make him much stronger as a damage dealer, but once again, it is a very expensive thing to do. I personally don't recommend it, but there's always 3 runs, and you could get it over time with 3 runs, but definitely other higher priorities. Let's say if you already have Lucia and the dedicated stunner for Banyue, you could also consider going, for example, M1 Lucia, which would be, in my opinion, more versatile and beneficial also for other Rapture teams if you really wanna vertical invest. Generally, vertical investing in DPS characters, I don't think it's a wise decision in this type of game. You're probably better vertical investing in supportive type of characters or more splashable characters that do work in multiple teams. You're gonna get much more out of that than putting on a DPS. But of course, if you do like the character, feel free to do it, but that's just how it is. So overall, with Dialyn and Banyue, effectively Banyue value highly depends whether you already have Lucia on your account, and also if you already have a Rapture team on your account, because having 2 Rapture teams at the same time, I don't think it's necessarily as good, because there is only one Lucia, and you're not gonna get double Rapture team at max power at the same time necessarily. So already have, let's say, a Issue 1 team on your account or something like that. I would say that Banu priority is much lower, and also Banu priority would also drop heavily down depending if Yishun Wang is a fire element, because if she is, you would just go for that. It's a clear overlap. And also already have Evelyn on your account, and of course another Rapture team like Yishuan, then Banu value pool is much more reduced. If you ask me, you're not gonna get as much out of him. Meanwhile, for Dialyn, very splashable character, and I think most of people will probably go for this character because of the sheer buffs and everything she provides on top of having damage. And as long as you play any Rapture teams or Evelyn team on your account, you can easily take advantage of her. And there's also a high probability she might end up working with Yishun Wang, and if she does, then her pool value will only increase exponentially, because my best advice would be to wait as long as possible to get information on Yishun Wang, whether she is a physical attacker, Rapture, fire, something, right? And then we figure out whether she works with Dialyn or not, because if it does, then Dialyn extremely high pool value. Even after all the changes she received, she is a great pickup. Also, we're nearing the end of the season 2 character cast, and we're still about to get that strong upcoming character Yishun Wang. So definitely overall, I highly recommend to save your pools as much as possible for her team. And if Dialyn happens to work with her, amazing pickup. If it doesn't work with her, you could also of course get Dialyn to improve your existing teams, which is gonna work, but then you might not have enough pools to get Yishun Wan plus her W engine and potentially another teammate, assuming if she would not work with Dialyn. So there's definitely a lot of things you have to think about before you pull for Dialyn, but the best thing you can do is wait as long as possible. Her banner does last several weeks, so as soon as we get information about what Yishun Wang does, then based on that make the decision whether you want to pull Dialyn, because the drip marketing and also also the beta information regarding issue 1 should be available within the duration of Dialin banner, so you can make a nice informed decision regarding that. As for Banyue, you'll also have plenty of time to make a decision regarding him. So yeah, that's pretty much it for this early value discussion. If you have any questions or you would like to add anything yourself, feel free to write within the comments down below. And of course, if you like this video, don't forget to give it a like and all that YouTube stuff. I wish you a wonderful day, guys, and see you in the next video. Ciao!